Hey there, welcome. My name is Alonda Carter and I am the Recovering Hunbot. I have often said there is an MLM for anything. Well, I think I need to update that to there's a scam for anything. Today we are going to examine the rise and fall of a curious company that may be an investment scam that rivals OneCoin. The name of the company is Juicy Fields. To support my channel, I just ask that you watch the video to the end and give it a thumbs up. If you have time, please leave a comment so that more people have a chance to view this video. And now, let's get to the topic at hand. So what exactly is, or was, Juicy Fields? According to the website, Juicy Fields is a medicinal cannabis crowd-growing platform that connects people with licensed producers and distributors from around the world. It is described as a simple process whereby e-growers buy clones on the Juicy Fields platform. Juicy Fields operates under a contract with licensed partners, A for cultivation and other services. After harvesting, Partner A sells products with high THC content under a contract of intent with Partner B. Juicy Fields receives its share of the value of transaction X. Juicy Fields pays the Y amount to the e-grower. Juicy Fields is located in Zurich, and the website was registered on January 7th of 2019. However, it did not have a license from the National Securities Market Commission. According to Crunchbase, Alan Glantz is the founder. His LinkedIn profile indicates he is the CEO of Juicy Fields and that he is located in Berlin. He stepped down as the CEO in early 2022. The Juicy Fields website, though, does not mention Glantz. Under context, there are 4 individuals named: Stefan Ludwig Graf von Luxemburg, Dr. Robert Michael Mueller, Frederick Graf von Luxemburg, and Birgit Neumann. Stefan Ludwig Graf von Luxemburg is the president, board member, and co-owner of Juicy Fields. He is also the brother of Frederick, although that has not been verified. I could not find a digital footprint for Stefan. Michael Mueller is the other co-owner of Juicy Fields. Allegedly, he has extensive experience in the cannabis industry. The only thing mentioned on his LinkedIn profile is active retinue, which appears to target senior citizens. Frederick Graf von Luxemburg is listed as the in-house attorney, and like Stefan, I could not find a digital footprint. Birgit Neumann is billed as the organizational consultant, sparring partner, coach, supervisor, and mediator. According to the LinkedIn profile, she is a business coach and also located in Germany. I did find a Facebook profile that indicates she is an online coach. Juicy Fields was prominent on social media and hired influencers to push the opportunity. Although there is clear evidence of a ponzi with early investors being paid for the money later investors paid, the company also had elements of multi-level marketing. Specifically, investors were offered bonuses if they could convince others to buy the virtual cannabis plants. Daniel Gauci was one of the lead promoters of Juicy Fields. At one point, you could find his picture on the website and see he was billed as the Chief Business Development Officer. Gauci allegedly became aware that the growth of Juicy Fields sales was happening too fast. He denies any knowledge of the overall scam and says he left the company due to management problems and internal conflicts. He claims that he was giving promises and facts on behalf of the company that were not being honored, which was affecting him personally and having an effect on his work relationships both inside and outside the company. Gauci said that he provided documented evidence of his work contacts and conversations that clearly attest to his and some of his team's innocence. At this time, Gauci will not speak about Juicy Fields publicly, but is available through his attorney for professional, legal, or authority inquiries. Other names associated with Juicy Fields include Thomas Steiger, Hans van de Veen, Lysette Osario, and Fanny Skolong. Very little information can be readily found about them online. Thomas Steiger was the financial officer and strategic advisor for Juicy Fields. Any reference to Juicy Fields has been removed from his LinkedIn profile. His profile reveals he is a medicinal cannabis expert and has a background in private equity banking and investments. Hans van de Ven was the CEO in the Latin American region for Juicy Fields. Lysette Osorio is from Colombia, and she was the Chief Communications Officer for Juicy Fields, which has been removed from her LinkedIn profile. Fanny Skolong was head of marketing for Juicy Fields. Information has come to light that indicates Juicy Fields was divided between several companies registered in different countries, including Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Portugal. In Germany, there was Juicy Grow GmbH, whose director in 2021 was Victor Brittner. In Switzerland, there's Juicy Fields AG, which was incorporated in 2013 under the name Luxembourg Karloff Holding AG, which was managed by Duke Stefan Ludwig Graf von Luxembourg, Prince and Duke George Wolfgang Prince von Sachsen-Coburg, and Gotha Herzog zu Sachsen, and Robert Michael Mueller. I probably just butchered those names. My apologies. In the Netherlands, there was Juicy Holdings BV, which was incorporated at the end of 2021 and owned by Juicy Fields AG, with Robert Michael Mueller as the director. And there was a branch in Portugal for Juicy Holdings BV with a representative based in Madrid, Spain. On July 13th of 2022, the Association of People Affected by Investments in CBD Crops filed a class action lawsuit against Juicy Fields. Charges allege misappropriation, trespassing, and misleading advertising. The lawsuit against the trading companies Juicy Fields, Juicy Holdings BV, Juicy Grow GmbH, and each person mentioned in this video, Stefan Ludwig Graf von Luxembourg, Frederick Graf von Luxembourg, Robert Michael Mueller, Thomas Steiger, Birgit Newman, Alan Glass, Daniel Gauci, Hans van de Ven, Lysette Osorio, and Franny Skolong, in addition to all the people who acted in the Spanish arm of Juicy Fields. It is estimated roughly 4,000 people from Spain were impacted by this scam. After Glantz left Juicy Fields, William Vandermeer became the CEO around June 1st of 2022, but business records indicate it was June 23rd. Allegedly, there was a meeting in May with completing the transfer of power from Glantz over to Vandermeer. On June 3rd of 2022, Germany's financial regulator, BaFin, prohibited Juicy Holdings BV from offering capital investments in the form of investments in cannabis plants to the public. Then on June 7th, BaFin fined Juicy Fields €1 million for failing to withdraw its cannabis plants from sale in Germany. Willie addressed investors and told them changes needed to be made so that Juicy Fields was in compliance with BaFin and Spain's National Securities Market Commission, or CNMV. On Monday, July 11th, entities that claim to be Juicy Fields' IT, customer support, and payments teams announced plans to publicly strike on July 12th. The reason for announcing the strike was due to disputes between the team and management. That same day, investors began to try to withdraw funds due to the impending strike. At that time, many investors began reporting that they could no longer access their accounts. Since then, investors have not been able to withdraw funds. The following day, the company's Telegram group was shut down. It had been the main point of contact with investors. Willie released a statement stating there were no problems with Juicy Fields and the only changes needed were with the platform. He stated that owners of Juicy Fields decided to restrict access to accounts in order to prevent hacking during the platform update. The site's information began to change starting on around July 12th. The Juicy Fields communication director, Zevda Lorek, published a video on the Juicy Fields Instagram account stating the company's network was hacked and they were waiting to release funds on July 13th. Furthermore, the company removed the names and details of their senior directors from its website. It was later restored, however, the only director listed was Thomas Steiger. Zevda put out a second video on July 14th. She announced Willie resigned as Juicy Fields CEO. He had only been at the helm for 2 months. Later that day, the Juicy Fields Instagram account vanished. All other Juicy Field social media accounts began to disappear as well. Investors felt another blow on July 14th. They lost access to their personal web accounts, which provided information about their balance and the status of their plants. Content creators and reporters began to report suspicious movements of funds. At this point, it is thought that a process called blending was being conducted. Blending is when scammers make thousands of movements to make the funds harder to trace. On July 14th, Willie issued a statement criticizing Juicy Fields AG and Juicy Holdings BV, which said, although a person by the name of Frederick von Luxemburg did not appear on the company registration documents in Germany, the Netherlands, or Switzerland, he seemed to have become the voice of the owners. He informed me shortly after my memo dated June 5, 2022, that the owners had rejected my proposals for these changes and that he would already be busy with a company prospectus. A Portuguese partner of Juicy Fields, Sabros Pupura, issued a statement to distance himself from Juicy Fields on July 15th. Glantz, the former CEO, released some documents on July 16th that claimed Paul Bergolotz, Alex Weimer, and Vasily Kadinsky were the three men in control of Juicy Fields. Leaked documents revealed these three men had Russian passports. It appears that Juicy Growth GmbH is owned by these three men. 80% of the company Juicy Fields AG is owned by Paul Bergolotz, who owns 51%, which makes him the majority shareholder of the company. Alex Weimer and Vasily Kadinsky are both said to own 24.5% of the company each. Both companies, Juicy Grow GmbH and Juicy Fields AG, are managed by an attorney by the name of Victor Brittner. On July 17th, Birgit Newman released a video where she claims she was brought onto the Juicy Fields AG team in mid-June as a consultant and chief financial officer due to the issues associated with BaFin. She suggests that various changes in the company, including the directorship, were false, and the intent was to deceive e-growers. The directors listed at this time on the website, including Robert Mueller, Stefan Graf von Luxemburg, Thomas Steiger, and herself, were never given access or had anything to do with the platform. She goes on to say that they will file criminal charges against the owners of JuicyFields.io, which include Paul Bergolotz, Robert Lujana, Alex Weimer, Vali Kadinsky, Alan Glantz, and Erica Miesla. These people are accused of being the owners and operating accounts with two banks through forged documents. Newman and the others launched a website, juicyfields.ag, that provides the details of the two banks, one located in Lithuania and the other in Cyprus. These are the banks that allegedly the criminal faction sent money through, which could be as much as $1 billion. Willie also released a statement called My Own Observations, where he made various claims. He asserts that after helping with the compliance issue, he and his team were locked out of the company's social media accounts. He also contends he was not provided and could not obtain information about how many investors the platform had or where and how the money was coming in was managed. Additionally, he claimed that he could not find out what sort of financial position the company was in. Since mid-July of 2022, those who invested in Juicy Fields could no longer log into the platform. Furthermore, the company removed all content from its social media platforms. These actions are indicative of an exit scam. While in operations, Juicy Fields claimed it had 500,000 users, mostly from Europe, Latin America, and Africa. The minimum investment into the Juicy Fields opportunity was €50, and the highest investment is said to have been €180,000. Investors did not need to provide their identity. Those who invested did so believing that their money went to growing marijuana plants in legally licensed businesses. Plants were harvested 108 days later, and investors received between 33 to 66 return on their investment. Payments of investor profits ran smoothly for a while because the money from new investors was being paid to earlier investors. Many who withdrew money ended up putting more money back in, and some even took out loans to do so. Some have compared Juicy Fields to OneCoin, and it is thought that tens of millions of euros or perhaps billions were pumped into the company. The exact number of investors worldwide is not known, but estimates say it could be around 300,000 individuals. Overall, Juicy Fields seems to have the hallmarks of a classic exit scam. Juicy Fields offered high returns, investors lost the ability to withdraw funds, and social media accounts vanished. Given that both Germany and Spain warned that Juicy Fields could be a fraudulent organization, the company changed its headquarters. Although Juicy Fields claims to have contracts with well-established cannabis companies, these companies deny any association. Juicy Fields did not follow Know Your Customer or KYC protocol in countries that have strict anti-money laundering laws. The company claimed to access a gram of cannabis for 20 cents on the dollar when the industry standard rarely is 80 cents on the dollar. The fallout from Juicy Fields' collapse is still unfolding. I suspect more information will come out, and hopefully the people responsible for ruining lives of many will be held accountable. What are your thoughts about Juicy Fields? Thanks so much for watching. Remember to stay alert and be vigilant, and always do your own research. Until next time, don't forget, you're beautiful and I love you.